Hey guys, forgive my looks. I wasn't planning on doing a video today. I took the day off to do a whole bunch of hard work, but I thought I'd take 5-10 minutes and do a quick little video update. I haven't done an update in a while. I've been really busy with kids' hockey tryouts and just a whole bunch of work stuff and other personal family stuff. Um, so I haven't had time to do the videos, but I've been out working hard, and you can see behind me the food forest is starting to wake up. You guys are probably fully into planting mode, but I'm just starting. We're at the southern edge of the property, and this is where the artesian well lets out. So forgive the mess. This is years of solutions trying to fix it. It overflows into this pond here that the old owners made, and they didn't seal it very well. They used giant boulders, and obviously the water over the course of time bypassed the pipes and dug a channel out where those O pipes go down, which were my attempt to solve this thing. The problem with the O pipes, they did okay for a season, but the problem with the O pipes is wildlife walk on them, and they're not perfect. And the water lets out and it floods this whole property. So when I got this place, this was all overgrown and soaked, absolutely soaked. Couldn't even walk down here. And my goal with this place, I have giant willow trees here. They're beautiful. So I want to turn this into a place that I can use. So I cleared out all the cedar. I've kept the willows, and I'm going to replant this out. And I'm going to try to run this water on contour, and wait till you see how much water this is. So I'm going to run it on contour back and forth, a slight downgrade, because I do want to move the water. I'm not trying to store it and hold it and soak it. So it is slight downhill contour, and you're looking at probably 20 hours of shovel and sweat. So this is the flow that I have coming out of this thing. It's remarkable. This goes 365, 24 hours a day, all year long, non-stop. This flow rate doesn't slow down at all. So this looks like Armageddon back here a bit, but it'll all regrow, and I'm gonna further work on planting out. I've kept, willows that obviously were cut. This was before me, and it responded like that. So I saw this guy and thought, hey, I'm gonna keep him. I'll prune that back to, my favorite 3, 4, 5, 6 willows, and I'll let that regrow as like a willow bush. But this has been a ton of shovel and sweat. So I've got a couple little ponds, building in some waterfalls, just for sound, mostly even. Looks nice. You can see this bed. As soon as you disturb something, if you don't sow, nature will. So I've sowed this whole entire area into garlic, lovage, lupines. I'm gonna plant in elderberries, sweet cicely, a whole bunch of other wet loving plants. So this is what I'm doing all day today. I'm going to work on cleaning this out. I'm going to sheet mulch all this, put on tons of wood chips, build out these berms a little more. I'm going to dig this out a little wider, just so that I can handle rainstorms. But now, instead of the land basically barricading it and then spreading it out, slow spread sink is what we want to do with water, but when we have this much water constantly, that's kind of what we want to do when we want to hold on to rainwater and we want to stop the water from leaving our land. This water is actually so much for this area that I want to spread it out as much as possible so that I can use it. But then I do want it leaving my land, because I have basically 20 times my acreage worth of water coming in on a 24-hour basis. So this is a smaller example of a lower area, and I've already bermed this up, I put compost down. I planted about 100 strawberries into it. Garlic, onion. You can tell I do garlic and onion everywhere. They're just so useful. Bunch of wildflower mix in here as well, some clover. And hopefully I just get a polyculture started of things that I want. If the strawberries all die, they all die. Like, I just want something that I want in here growing, and then I can work on propagating it and fine-tuning it. So then this eventually, and this is all very rough. I've just been mucking around in here. Obviously, gonna touch it up nice. This was a hand-dug pond I did. It's about 2 feet deep, but it's filling up with the sediment of all the digging that I've done since, so I'm gonna have to get back in there. I got a buddy with a dozer. I might get him to come down here and just see if he can dig this out further. This is the old O-pipe. I want to get rid of as many unnatural things as possible, and I want my whole land to be just natural beauty. So this is a work in progress. This is my my current experimentation area. We've got the willow. We're gonna have swales. We're gonna have a food system down here. Maybe a nice sitting area. Put a gazebo in there in the future. And we're gonna spread this water out as much as we can and use it as much as we can. And then eventually I have a water level controller, which is just a piece of pipe. And I can adjust the height of the pond. I'm trying to get it down right now. And then if that gets overflowed or over capacity, it really should be twice as big. I should have used a bigger pipe. Maybe I fix that in the future. I have a lower level sill here, which will take it down a ditch down the side. And then this walkway I'm going to recover. So I'm going to build this berm back up. We got O-pipe just to get it over here so that the path stays fairly dry. This is pretty good clay, so it holds really well. Surprised, like, considering the flow rate that I have, like, look at this flow rate. This is 24/7. So I need to, it's a curse right now. I need to turn it into a blessing. And there's no reason why free flowing water on your property should be anything but a blessing. So that's on me. And I'm gonna fix this. And it's gonna be beautiful. You'll be seeing my videos 10 years from now on this lower property. Hopefully it looks better than this. But I gotta say, after about 20 hours of work, it already is kind of nice out here. It's very sunny, got beautiful willows, the sound of flowing water. I've got food starting to grow in the berms. I've got some clover coming up, and I'm gonna put, this gonna be a giant wildlife pollinator, really focused on, native wetland plants, pollinator attractors. I'll probably just take cuttings of this willow, and most of the giant overstory is going to be willow. I got free willow cuttings, so, and they root really well. I've already rooted probably 20 of them in this little area. So I'm going to fill out the rest of it with some more willows. Turn this into willows and strawberries and elderberries and currants. Probably a big focus on elderberries. And then we'll get we got nice aeration. I want to get as many tumbling areas as possible to aerate the water. And then small little pockets of deep water where you get oxygen storage. So I can overwinter fish in this pond. It won't freeze all winter long, there's no way. And then I can get some nice, rich oxygenated water for the fish. And then I've tried to maintain as much, bushes and shrubbery that were growing successfully. I tried to keep as much of that and integrate it in. So I'd wind the river, you know, as much as I could around them, so that in the future they'll become their own little centerpieces, and they'll be the start of their own guilds down here. Super exciting, lots of work. That's it for the update. Now I gotta go pick up a shovel, and maybe later tonight I'll add to this video and show you what I've done. So here's a next day update of the lower area. Sorry, I still don't have my stabilizer. It's 7 in the morning. So another reason I wanted to come down here is do a solar aspect, get it on video so I know. So it's beginning of May 2019. You can see this whole area is almost in full sun. It's just climbing up over these cedars here. Dead ash trees. So that's gonna have to come down, both of them. Probably should have done that first in hindsight. I just noticed that. So already this area has dried up a ton. We got clean, clear, fresh water. Started to put some rocks in. This whole entire area I'm gonna have covered in rocks. So you can see I sheet mulched with leaf bags. Fairly thick actually. I want to keep the poison ivy down. I'm going to dig out that stream a little further, and then I'm going to put that on top of the sheet mulch bags, and then I'm going to line it with rocks. Use some logs as bridges, try to keep it as natural looking as possible. It's going to be quite a nice little spot, considering this whole area was so wet I couldn't even walk in. Now I'm growing strawberries, service berries, elderberries, blueberries, all planted out here. Clover, lupines, goomy berries. I moved my persimmon down here, so it should like this area a little more. It's got all the water it wants. The actual neat thing about this is it's mostly clay. It's mostly clay, and the water can now move on the surface at a zero resistance, slightly downhill. But it does leach through a little bit. So underneath this raised bed, which is sheet mulched, and then about 6 inches of compost and native soil mix, and then about a foot of wood chips. So there's a moisture gradient from saturated water on the bottom of the land, and you can kind of see it here. This is the area here. This is what underneath this will look like. So it's saturated. It's not wet. It's just saturated. So there'll be a saturated moisture gradient, and then the water will wick up through, and the roots can find whatever depth and whatever moisture they want. So each tree and each thing in this system should be able to adjust itself very well. This will look really nice when it's all done out to rocks. Little tumbling zones for aeration. Deep zones for oxygen holding. And then the second thing is that this is a really good solar aspect. So I can cheat zone a little bit here, because I have so much thermal mass down here with the water now, and when this is all lined out to rock, I'm going to have so much thermal mass that this is actually going to be fairly warm zone. It'll be actually more of a moderated zone, because in the summertime this water is quite cool, and in the wintertime it can be minus 40 Celsius out, and this water's still flowing, and it's still just slightly above freezing, probably like 1 degree above freezing. So that thermal energy is constantly being cycled through, and it's going to give off its heat to the surrounding area. And with the solar aspect as well, this might be a good place to have stuff like my persimmon and my pawpaws. So I might do some more seedling pawpaws down here. There's a willow. Overall, pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this. It was free. It just took a whole lot of hard work. And some time. And it was completely free. This I'll turn into a nice waterfall. It twists and turns. Comes down here. Frogs and everything just love this little pond here. I dammed it up there a bit to raise the level. And then I'll put rock salt to overflow it over the rocks to prevent erosion. And then I pull it back over here just on contour, slightly off contour. And down in here I have more raspberries, all the things that I said before, lupine. I have daikon down here because it's hard clay, daikon radish. It's all mulched out. Once things start growing up, I'll put more mulch, more wood chips. I'll sheet mulch this area here that I'm on, turn this into a walking area. The sacrificial part of this whole dig was this pond, and a lot of silt got pushed down in here as I was disturbing the water. So I'm gonna have to come dig this out. But the good thing is that'll be a source of really, really nice fertile soil to add to the beds. Until next time.